Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about an important topic that I know you guys care about, and that is how to become a millionaire in your 20s and 30s. Now there's a lot of information out there on YouTube already about this topic, but a lot of those ways discussed rely on a bit of chance and luck, and it's not something that's easily reproducible by many people. So today I'm going to put my own spin on this. I'm going to give you the truth like always, and I'm going to talk about the highest expected value way to become a millionaire in your 20s and 30s. So what does highest expected value way mean? I mean that if you follow these steps with greater than 90% probability, you too can become a millionaire in your 20s and 30s. Why can I say that? Why am I confident about that? I'm confident about that because if you look at the statistics, on average, but not just the average because a few people at the top are making a ton of money, but on average and the median as well of the income of the people that follow these steps become millionaires in their 20s and 30s. So this is guaranteed as long as you can stand the course. As I promised at the beginning of this video, I'm going to share the truth with you. That means everything I say is going to be backed up by facts and statistics. This is not me telling you one or two stories about people that have gotten lucky and achieved this goal. I'm talking about dozens of people that I know and have spoken to that have achieved this level of success by following this path. And outside of my friends, there are hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people executing and following this plan today and achieving this type of success. Now, the information I'm giving you is different than what you've heard on YouTube. It doesn't involve dropping out of college, dropping out of high school early, and starting a super risky business venture without knowing much about the world or how business works. This is a time-proven way, highest expected value way to achieve your goal of being a millionaire in your 20s or 30s. That means you don't need 10 streams of income, 24 streams of income. You don't need a side hustle. You just have to do this. And if you do this well and you can follow these steps and this path, you can be a millionaire in your 20s or 30s. Now, before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about my journey to give you context, because this is information that I wish I knew in my 20s. Now, the key term here is highest expected value. And this term is super important for your personal success. It's human nature to think that you're special. But if you can look at yourself and make good decisions based on large sets of numbers, based on statistics, and accurately ranking yourself within those statistics, you're better set for matching reality with your expectations. And that's what the key is here. And believe me, I understand expected value better than a lot of people out there. Over the last 10 years, I've started multiple startups. I've raised millions of dollars from great VCs. I've worked with talented people, rich people, people that have net worths of over $1 billion, hundreds of millions of dollars, and plenty that had tens of millions of dollars or single-digit millions of dollars. So I've already worked with a ton of talented people with different ranges of success, and I can tell you expected value matters. I've tried side hustles. I've tried working 20 hours a day. I've eaten, slept, cried, and died by my startups a dozen times over. And I can tell you expected value is an important thing to understand. So, although I'm a huge proponent of entrepreneurship and going after your dreams and goals, you have to understand probability and expected value, and that should be the core of your plan, your personal plan. It's something that you can rely on, something that you know is there. You should set yourself up and measure yourself by that, and then accurately judge your reality versus your perception to have the best outcome in life. So if you're just tuning into this video, you're gonna wanna stick around because I'm gonna break down exactly how to become a millionaire in your 20s and 30s, how much you should be expecting to earn your first year out of college, 3 years after college, 5 and 10 years after college, and what that looks like on your journey to become a millionaire in your 20s or 30s. If you like this type of content and appreciate the amount of effort that goes into it, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll produce future videos going into this more in depth and sharing more of my knowledge and experience on how to accumulate wealth in your 20s and 30s. And the best part of all of this is that it's not misinformation. It's not a scam. Everything that I'm going to say in this video can be backed up by facts and statistics that you yourself can verify. And these are proven ways to achieve millions of dollars in your 20s and 30s and beyond by just following this path. It's something that I've seen my friends do dozens of times over now. And you definitely want to stay to the end of this video because I'm going to discuss not only the highest expected value way to make a few $1 million in your 20s and 30s, but I'm also going to reveal the highest expected value way to make 10, 20, 30, even $100 million in your 20s or 30s. So before we jump into the meat of this video, I want to preface this by saying that I'm not here to entertain you through shock and awe. I'm not here to sell you anything. My only purpose here is to tell you the truth, and I would hope that you'll be receptive to this and listen to it and consider the possibility, because a lot of the information out there on YouTube is telling you what you want to hear. You're more than likely looking for an easy way to success, a golden key, something that is going to cut years off this journey, something that's going to give you a shortcut and also give you an advantage over everyone else that also wants the same thing. And to be honest, that's just not realistic. But what you have been told and what is out there in society and these structures that are built out there that are looking to help you succeed are real. And in this day and age, I understand it's not easy to decipher what is real and what is fake. Even the news is so biased. I get it. I want to rebel against the establishment, government, big business, all this stuff. I have had those feelings in my 20s. I have played them out, and I'm still here telling you the truth. And the truth is, if you want to be a millionaire in your 20s or 30s, the highest expected value, best risk-adjusted way to achieve that is through your career. And specifically picking a career in either software engineering in Silicon Valley, being an investment banker, or being a management consultant. These three jobs each provide you with enough income through a single job, one thing that you can focus on in your life and be excellent in, that's gonna make you a millionaire in your 20s or 30s. You will earn enough money just from these jobs to achieve that goal. And I know that's not what you wanted to hear. You wanted a get-rich-quick scheme. But again, I'm here just telling the truth. I'm telling you what I've experienced and what I've seen from those around me that have done this and achieved this level of success. And the way to achieve this most consistently is by going down one of these three paths. Now, that's not to say there aren't other career paths that will give you a similar result. But today, I'm just gonna focus on software engineering, consulting, and investment banking, because that is the vast majority of jobs and careers that my friends have taken. And it might seem like this is so obvious, but for whatever reason, these statistics and information on salary and total compensation aren't readily available. If you go on Google right now and look at top paying jobs, you're gonna be surprised that most of these jobs and these total compensation numbers aren't in those articles. And if you're not in the industry or you don't have friends in this industry, you might never know how much money these people are actually making. But it's substantial, and it's more than enough to achieve your goal of being a millionaire in your 20s or 30s. The best part of this is there's not a ton of risk involved. That means if you can achieve this goal, you're still setting yourself up for success. If you get one of these jobs, land one of these careers, you do it for a few years, and you wanna do something else, you have a great brand name behind you, and it's very easy to transition to another company, another corporation, or do something else. Not only that, but you'll have been surrounded by amazing and talented people that could also help you in your next entrepreneurship journey, or starting another startup, or starting your other business, whatever it may be. The people around you are connections that you're gonna wanna keep as well. All right, so finally, let's jump into the numbers. So the numbers I'm gonna talk about are total compensation. What is total compensation? Your normal 9-to-5 job is gonna give you a salary. That means at the end of every month or at the end of every 2 weeks, you're gonna receive a cash check. What I'm talking about is total compensation. So a lot of these companies, a lot of these career paths, they'll give you cash, a salary, just like your 9-to-5 job, plus a bonus, plus stocks and equity. And you're gonna find that the big bulk of how much money you earn every year is not just gonna be in your salary, but it's gonna be part of your bonus or equity that you're also earning. And that may be why when you're going online and you're looking for the best paying jobs, they often don't cite this total compensation number. I think a lot of the people that put together these articles don't understand total compensation, and they're only looking at the total cash value. And that may be why when you go on Google and search for highest salary jobs, these jobs don't show up, because a lot of the people writing those articles don't understand the idea of total compensation. All right, so let's get into the numbers. First, I'm gonna provide an overview of what you should achieve broadly across any of these three career paths. Then I'm gonna go into each career path and explain exactly how much you should earn and what the career progression is for that career path. So across all three career paths, if you end up at a top firm out of college, you can expect to earn anywhere from $110,000 in total compensation all the way up to $180,000 in total compensation. You might earn more, you might earn a little bit less. It's gonna be based on your own personal circumstances. But you can see right out of college, you're already earning over 6 figures in total compensation. Now, 2 to 3 years out from that, you're gonna earn even more. You're gonna be looking at anywhere from $170,000 to $250,000 in total compensation. These numbers are unreal, but the numbers don't stop there. 3 to 5 years out, you're looking at anywhere from $250,000 to $350,000 in total compensation every year. And beyond that, if you stay longer or you're exceptional, you can earn anywhere from $350,000 to $600,000 a year in total compensation. So you can see from just these numbers alone, less than 10 years out of college, you can already be earning over $500,000 a year. And if you're really exceptional in your field and move up in these organizations, you can gross more than $1 million a year easily in a lot of these professions. All right, now that I've given an overview about what you can expect broadly from each of these three career paths, I'm gonna break down each career path and talk about career progression and how much you can expect to earn and how that total compensation is broken up for each career path. So the first one we're gonna talk about is software engineering. And this is one that I'm most familiar with. This is the one where most of my cohorts and friends have gone down this path and achieved these types of numbers. This is something that I myself am going through as well. If you graduate with a computer science degree and land a job at Google or any of the other FAANG companies, you're looking to make on average $180,000 of total compensation a year. $120,000 of that is going to be cash salary. $40,000 of that is going to be stock that's vesting over a period of time. Normally, it's $120,000 of stock vesting over 3 years, and $20,000 of that is going to be cash bonus based on your performance. 1 to 2 years after that, as a normal software engineer, you're looking at making over $260,000 in total compensation a year. $155,000 of which is going to be base salary. $80,000 of that is going to be part of the stock that's vesting to you, normally $240,000 over 3 years. And another $25,000 to $30,000 of that is going to be cash bonus for the end of that year. And in 3 or 5 years, you'll likely make senior software engineer, where you're making on average $350,000 a year, $186,000 of which is going to be your cash salary. Then you'll get $126,000 of stock a year, which is part of your 3-year vesting plan of $360,000 of stock. And on top of that, you're going to receive another cash bonus of about $38,000 a year. Now that you've reached senior software engineer, moving up in the organization is not going to be as straightforward. It's really going to be based on your own merit and what projects you get placed on. Depending on how well you do, you might make staff software engineer. As a staff software engineer, you're looking to make on average $490,000 a year. Of that, $220,000 is going to be part of your cash salary. On average, you'll receive another $210,000 in stocks. That's part of a larger $800,000 to $1 million stock vesting plan over 4 years. And you'll also receive something like a $60,000 cash bonus at the end of the year. So beyond staff engineer, you're really gonna have to make big contributions to the company, and you're probably looking at spending anywhere from 8 to 10 years or more at Google or this company. But if you can do that, you're looking at titles like senior staff engineer, principal engineer, and distinguished engineer. And these salaries can range anywhere from $500,000 to over $1 million a year in total compensation. So these are pretty eye-watering numbers, but these are numbers that are pretty consistent across Silicon Valley at these top companies. And what's even crazier is, as you've seen, a lot of this compensation is tied to stocks and equity. And over the last 10 years, tech stocks have gone crazy. So a lot of the people that got in 10 years ago have been doing really well, far and above these total compensation numbers based on these appreciating values in tech companies. And before I get into investment banking and management consulting numbers, I want to talk a little bit about the reputation that tech companies have. And that is a great work-life balance. So it's not that you're going to be at these big corporations and not be expected to work and perform. You are. But they also have a lot of facilities and a lot of resources dedicated to making your time there enjoyable. They offer things like free lunch, free dinner, on-site massages, and all types of amenities that you can only dream of. So they really are great places to work at, and they're going to offer a better work-life balance compared to investment banking or management consultant, which I'm about to get into. All right, so now let's talk about investment banking. So these numbers are not numbers that I can verify myself. This is based on the information that I found out there, which is less than what I found out there for software engineering, and I haven't personally experienced this myself. But I do have friends in investment banking, and from what I hear and talking to them, I think these numbers are fairly accurate and competitive. Just like for software engineering, which firm you're in and your own personal ability is going to have a big role in how much money you make. But on average, these are numbers that are consistent with the industry. If you graduate college and join an investment bank, you're looking at being a first-year associate. On average, you're looking at earning around $150,000 a year. Of that, around 50% is your cash bonus. On average, your bonus is going to be 70 to 100% of your base salary. 2 years in, you're still an analyst, but now you're going to be making on average $170,000 a year. 3 years in, and you're looking at making $190,000 a year on average. Beyond that, if you continue to stay at the firm or join with an MBA, you'll be an associate. And on average, you're going to earn anywhere from $200,000 to $350,000 in total compensation a year. In your second or third year of being an associate, you can be expecting to earn anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 a year in total compensation. Now, beyond this point, just like in software engineering, there's going to be a little bit of a meritocracy. It's going to depend on your own personal ability to perform and how people see you in the firm and the opportunity to move up. But if you can do that, you can become a VP. And if you can become a VP in an investment bank, you're looking at making anywhere from $350,000 a year to making over $1.5 million a year in total compensation. And if you can find the right opportunity and you're capable, you can become managing director. And you can earn anywhere from $400,000 to over $20 million a year based on your performance, the part of the business that you're looking after, and how well you're doing. Now, VP and managing director roles are going to be less technical. Just like in software engineering roles, beyond staff engineer, you're looking more at management instead of just coding. Managing director and VP is quite similar from what I've heard. You're going to be a little bit less hands-on, but you're going to be more responsible for bringing business into the firm. All right, so now that we talked about software engineering and investment banking and some of the eye-watering numbers there, let's talk about management consulting. In management consulting, as a new grad, you're going to be an analyst, and you're looking at total comp around $110,000 a year. $90,000 of which is going to be cash salary, and $20,000 of which is going to be your bonus. In 2 to 3 years, or if you join with an MBA, you're looking at becoming an associate. And you're looking at making, on average, around $210,000 a year in total compensation. In another 3 or 4 years, if you're up to it, you'll become an engagement manager or a project leader. And you can be expecting to earn anywhere from $230,000 to $300,000 a year in total compensation. And having spoken to some friends in the industry, I actually think the numbers here are a little bit low given this title. I think on average, from what I've gathered, they're probably earning anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 more than what the statistics say here. Now, beyond engagement manager, if you stay a few more years and become a principal at a management consulting firm, you can be expecting to earn anywhere from $300,000 to $600,000 a year in total compensation. And if you continue to stay at the firm and you continue moving up, you can become a partner. And a partner makes anywhere from $1 million to $5 million a year in total compensation. At the levels of principal and partner, from my understanding, you're looking at more at managing other people for sure, but also driving business to the management consulting firm as a whole. And based on your performance and ability to drive business and do sales for your firm, your total compensation is going to vary greatly. But on average, you can be looking at making anywhere from $1 to $5 million or even more as a partner in a management consulting firm. Now let's talk briefly about these 3 career paths and what you can expect. So as a software engineer, you're gonna work at a big firm and you're gonna have access to a bunch of great amenities. They're gonna offer free food, lunch, dinner, and a lot of on-site facilities. Most of your day is gonna be around solving coding problems, working on projects, and building applications or websites and features. Your work is going to be a little bit more solitary, but you will collaborate with other engineers and people. And as you move up in the organization, you'll be responsible for managing more people and reporting to upper management. Generally, the work-life balance here is pretty good. You have predictable hours, and although you might have some stress at work, normally it's manageable and you have other people to help you. What I've heard about investment banking, you're working a lot harder and giving the firm a lot more of your hours. The hours are less predictable, you're working all the time, and the first couple years can really be a grind. Here too, you're working with colleagues and you're looking at building models and analyzing deals. And if you move up, you are going to be relying more on interpersonal skills and interacting with other people, managing people, or talking to and putting together deals outside of the company. As a management consultant, you're going to rely a little bit more on interpersonal skills. You're going to deal with people in your firm, but also out of the firm. And you're also going to travel around a lot. You're going to be staying at different places, working on new projects, and interacting with the people in those organizations. So here, your interpersonal skills are much more important than software engineering and maybe even investment banking. As you move up, your sales ability, just like investment banking, is going to play a bigger role, and you're going to be interfacing with more people outside of the organization than within. In software engineering, you might have partnerships, but on average, you're probably going to be working on internal developments. Here too, in management consulting, I've heard a lot of complaints about work-life balance and how a lot of people are working more hours than they want to work, and they're staying up very late trying to complete projects with very tight deadlines. In this way, it's similar to investment banking. The other complaint that I hear from management consultants is that they wish they were paid as well as investment bankers. So on average, it seems that investment bankers are paid a little bit better than management consultants based on seniority and the amount of hours worked. In both cases, in investment banking and management consultant, I've heard a lot about people in senior positions, principals and above, leaving and doing something else, joining a big corporation, managing business for those corporations, but basically leaving those industries. I don't know the specific statistics here, but a lot of them complain about the work hours and the lack of work-life balance. Whereas in software engineering, a lot of people that are in these big firms, they might jump from one firm to another, but they normally stay in the industry as software engineers and continue to move up and live that lifestyle as a software engineer. All right, at this point, I'm sure I've caught your attention with how much money these people are making in these professions and roles. And you can probably clearly see a path to making millions in your 20s or 30s by taking any of these paths. But the question in the back of your mind is probably, okay, this is great, but I don't live in Silicon Valley, or I may not be qualified to get these jobs. What do I do? How do I approach this? Now, I didn't say this is the highest expected value way to become a millionaire in your 20s or 30s without thinking it through. And what's nice about all three of these opportunities is a way to get on the path, and the path itself is very well defined. That means there are people, institutions dedicated to the success of applicants in these career paths. They're there to help guide you through the application process and landing your first job. And within these organizations, there are going to be people below you and many people at your same level or above you that can guide you and act as a support system to help you move down this path. There are thousands and tens of thousands of people in these organizations that are doing the exact same thing as you. And honestly, based on those numbers, this is definitely the highest expected value way to become a millionaire in your 20s or 30s. You don't really have to stand out that much as long as you can make your way into these institutions and you can graduate and fit the demographics or have the skills required to hold these titles. You can join these firms. Believe me, in Silicon Valley, I receive recruiting emails from Google and Facebook almost once every few months asking me to join. And they're ferocious. If they don't hear from you, they will follow up continuously. And this has been going on for years and years as I've been in Silicon Valley, or even after I've traveled abroad, I still get emails from them. So they're looking to expand their organizations and hire additional talent to keep growing their workforce. I would say in general, if you can make it down these career paths and get into a decent to top firm, you can be looking at making $300,000 just by staying the course. That means not making some huge contribution or being specifically very talented yourself. As long as you can be middle of the pack, decent to well, you can make a very great living for yourself and definitely make over $1 million in your 20s or 30s. So if you're already going down this path, great, just stick the course, land the job, and you'll more or less be set. Now, if you're not in this path right now, please do the time to do the research and figure out what you have to do to get onto this path. If you haven't graduated college yet, this is the best time. A lot of these firms hire from specific colleges in specific areas, and it's very easy to look up this demographic data and figure out where you have to be to get the highest chances of landing one of these jobs. For software engineering, that's definitely Silicon Valley. Graduating from any of the UC schools like UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC Irvine, you can definitely get one of these jobs. Now, if you're into investment banking, being somewhere around Wall Street would be great. I also hear Chicago and Boston are great for management consulting as well. These other career paths I don't know too much about, but I know that there are very well-defined career paths, and a lot of them involve going to get your MBA or being located in the right city. If these jobs sound interesting and fun to you and you're satisfied with the total compensation and that's your goal, then please move to the ball. I understand it's so easy to make excuses for why you're not doing what it takes to achieve this. And a lot of things in life are not as well defined as these career paths. These are big institutions that hire thousands of people every year. It's very easy to see what you have to do to get on the right career path to achieve this goal. So unlike other things that are a little bit more amorphic, this is very simple. Just set your mind to what you want to achieve, look at where you are, and make the changes to make this happen. You can do it. And if you can't get into the firm that you want to be in right away, be part of the industry. Join a second-tier firm and make your way up. Keep applying, growing your reputation, growing your skill set, honing your interview skills, and eventually you will land the job that you want. Now, the opportunity cost for not doing this is huge. In Silicon Valley, as a software engineer, you're making great money, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. This is not the case in the rest of the world. In a place like China or somewhere else in the world, you could be making $50,000 or even less. So it's really up to you to optimize this yourself. You want to be in the best location to reap the rewards and benefits of your profession and ability. And if you don't do it, there's no one to blame except for you. I'm sorry, that's a hard thing to hear, but it's the truth. I understand there's a lot of hurdles and challenges for achieving this goal, but the goal is well defined and you should try and make progress towards it if you've decided this is what you want. Another example of this is in management consulting. In mainland China, the average consultant earns a lot less than people working in foreign firms or working abroad in Hong Kong. Not only are the taxes in China much higher, but the base salary is also much less. So in Hong Kong or in the US or in Europe, you're easily making over $100,000 when you first graduate joining these management consulting firms. In China, that number could be much less. It could be less 30% or even 50% at the higher levels of these organizations. So it's really up to you to find the information, dig, and go after what you want. All right, now I want to talk about low expected value traps. And this is the type of information that you hear on YouTube a lot, right? It's about starting your own business and becoming a millionaire that way. This, unfortunately, is a low expected value trap because on average, when you start a business, right, you're not diversified, you're building that business just based on your own ability and experience. And most likely, you don't have a lot of experience in this new industry that you're building in, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s. Maybe your 30s or 40s or 50s, after you've worked a few years in the industry, you have a better chance of success. But when you just graduated college, you really don't know too much about what's going on. And for these first couple of years, you're probably going to be earning much less than the market wage if you were to get one of these other professions. So the thing here is, if you join these three career paths, you're making so much money. The opportunity cost is huge. You're giving up hundreds of thousands of dollars every year to start your own business, and the chances of succeeding in your own business are against you. This pains me to say because I'm an entrepreneur myself and I have failed in multiple businesses. I've also made hundreds of thousands of dollars in some of my businesses, but I could have, quite honestly, made about as much money or even more money going down these high expected value routes. And after you go down these routes, don't think that you can never become an entrepreneur, because that's just not true. Once you join these firms, you've been working for a credible, big brand that's well recognized internationally. You'll have surrounded yourself with talented, smart people, and you'll also have saved up some money over those few years, and you'll also have the cumulative experience of working in these big organizations that are at the top of their field, and you can leverage all of that to start your own business a few years down the road if you want to change of pace. So I would say for personal entrepreneurship, unless you have a burning desire to do it and you know exactly what you want to do, think very carefully about the expected value and the opportunity cost of not pursuing one of these three routes, especially if you're in the position to just go and get one of these jobs today. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, how do you become a millionaire overnight? You're not satisfied with just $1, $2, or $3 million or single digit millions in your lifetime, in your 20s or 30s. What you want to achieve is tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. What is the highest expected value way of achieving this? Now, before I get into it, I want to say that this is not something that I've concocted. It's not some get rich quick scheme. It's not something that I'm coming up with just off the top of my head. This is based on my own personal experience, seeing people do this and having achieved these great successes by following this path. And it's also something that if you go on YouTube right now and you look at Gary Tan's videos, he's a great guy, he spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley, has a bunch of experience, and he himself is a multimillionaire. He also used the same method to get rich. All right, so what is this method? This method involves joining a tech company, not at the very beginning as employee number 1, but more like employee number 50 to employee 100 to employee 200. You want to find the sweet spot in a growth startup, a startup that has raised enough money and is near profitability in a space that's growing rapidly, where they have real customers and a real product. You want to join and you want to get some amount of equity, and that equity has a chance at 10x, 100x, 1000x still. And this is going to be your highest expected value way to get that big payout in just 3 to 5 years. I have a bunch of friends that I went to school with. Not all of them went down this route, but the ones that did and chose wisely are doing really well now that they're in their late 20s or 30s. Some even achieve this just 2 or 3 years out of college. So it is insane how much money you can make if you follow this path. And honestly, if you have the ability and you want to take a little bit of risk, this is probably the best risk-adjusted way to reach that goal of tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. You can imagine if you were employee number 100 at Facebook, you are a multi-millionaire right now. You could have retired very easily. And joining as employee 100 does not bear as nearly as much risk as joining as employee 1. At employee 1, you don't really know if the business is going to grow. Even if it's started by great founders, even if the funds that are investing it and the VCs in it are credible, at that point, no one really knows if there's a market for that product. But if you're employee number 100 and your company already has millions of users and revenue, chances are that there's going to be a positive outcome for that startup. It's unlikely that it's going to turn into something like WeWork. Now, the possibility is still there and it's still a risk, but think about it. If you're employee number 100 and you're joining a top growth startup, that's still a great brand name. You're still building your career and reputation. And if you want to jump ship later and join something like Google or Amazon or Microsoft that has a lot more stability, you certainly can. So there's not a lot of downside. When you join these types of companies at this point in time, they're paying market compensation, if not a little bit higher or a little bit less, and that stock has a huge chance for growth still. So honestly, if you want to make a lot of money, this is the way to go. Be a software engineer, be employee number 50, be employee number 100, be employee number 200 in a growth startup. All right, so thanks for watching. If you watched the end of this video, please like and subscribe to this channel. I will try and produce more content like this going forward. Please give me your feedback and let me know what you thought of the video. Take care, good luck, and you know where to find the truth on YouTube. Come back to this channel. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye.